Hello, it is Tuesday, March 28th, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Tuesday puzzle today, which means we should have a relatively approachable early week themed crossword, and it's another collaborative construction. So this gentle collaborative edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Alan Blunder, Mitchell Turek, Jenny Montague, and, as always, the invaluable Timothy Mark and the indomitable Schulmaster. So thank you so much to the five of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support in sustaining this channel, bringing us this edition of the Daily Solve. I really do appreciate it, as I appreciate the contributions of everybody who is a patron of the Daily Solve. If you'd like to contribute and help sustain this channel yourself, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve and become a benefactor and get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug, or a patron at any level and get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date. And also, of course, there's a link in the description field. Forgot to mention that. Thank you to everybody who is a patron. I really do appreciate it, and it's what keeps this channel going. You can also subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Please do so if you've not gotten around to it. That's a big help. And you can join the Daily Solve Discord chat server. There's a link in the description field to that as well. So, having said all that, let's get on to the solve. This is a Tuesday puzzle constructed by Daniel Cantor and Jay Caskell, each of whom has constructed around a dozen puzzles for the New York Times, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving and see what sort of themed solve we have in store for us today. This is a nice pattern in the grid with these little diagonally dispersed black squares. Anyway, special blank, some military missions, some special ops, special operations, I think is what that is. Let's look at the downs from that. Eyeballs, e.g., could be orbs. A line made with a comb in one's hair could be a part. And the video game genre for Space Invaders, a shoot 'em up, maybe? Yeah, I suppose so. You shoot all the little spacecraft that sort of slowly bear down on you. Actually, let's look at these crosses as well. Phew, that was close. I'm not sure. Yeah, not sure what that is. Showing no emotion. If you're stoic, you're showing no emotion. I think there was a similar clue leading to stoic in a recent puzzle, maybe within the last few days, perhaps. Revealing as a neckline could be a low-cut neckline. And if one falls behind, one lags. Shapiro of NPR, Ari Shapiro, I think, is a host on National Public Radio in the U.S. And spaces to be filled, say, could be gaps. Sometimes we have gaps in the grid we need to fill. Something that's spoken is oral, said aloud. And something streamlined could be said to be sleek in maybe aerodynamic design of an aircraft or a car. Okay, right. Phew, that was close. Brow wipe. I was wondering if it was going to be something about one's brow, but I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be. So the brackets in this case indicate sometimes brackets indicate a sound you would make that's nonverbal, so not sort of language, but rather some kind of imitative sound or something like that. In this case, it's not. It's an action. So it's just broadly indicating something nonverbal, whether it's a sound or emotion. And in this case, it's an action. You are wiping your brow in relief. Beverages with tasting notes could be wines. So sometimes you'll have tasting notes about wines that indicate, I don't know, sort of floral notes or whatever sort of kind of properties are experienced with that wine. Letter-shaped fastener could be a T-nut. So T is sort of in the sense of hardware. Okay, shishi. I think this is referring to something that's what sort of bourgeois or fancy, Tony maybe. That's an adjective that can be used to describe things that are maybe upmarket. So that could be the answer. Rockabye Baby, yes, and it looks like it is because of Rockabye Baby, the children's nursery rhyme. Rockabye Baby in the treetop, I think it goes. So there's the answer here, treetop. And you know better than that. You might chide somebody if they're misbehaving. And purrs as an engine. An engine might hum or purr. A red gemstone could be a ruby, and Abu Dhabi is the answer to this geographical clue. Achievement-oriented, say, if you're type A, maybe a sort of high achievement personality, I suppose. And if something's close poetically, it wouldn't simply be near. I don't think that doesn't seem poetic enough. What about this? Mouth, slangly. Your pie hole, maybe? Oh, nigh, of course. The end is nigh, the end is close, the end is near, etc. Okay. College seniors test could be... is it the GRE? I don't think that's for college, is it? Maybe it is. I can't remember, sorry. That would be... presumably this will be something related to graduate school, and I never attended graduate school, so I didn't need to know these intimately. Please. My something? Wyatt? No, not my anything. Wyatt of the Wild West, Wyatt Earp. Famous Wild West lawman, I suppose. So please. Oh, right. Okay, so this is the theme. Sorry, I didn't even pick up on the fact that this was likely to be a thematic answer, but it is, especially given its position in the grid. This is often where the first thematic answer is positioned. Not always, but often. So this one, please, an eye roll. Yes, okay. So a skeptical response to something, please, and again, it's in brackets here in this puzzle indicating that it is a physical action, an eye roll. There we go. So this is GRE. There we go, the college seniors test. And many a Marvel character could be a hero, a superhero in this case. And TV news VIPs could be anchors. Okay. A line of stitches in an article of clothing could be a seam. And har, 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 here we go. It's another thematic clue. Har, 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 a knee slap, maybe. You're laughing at a particularly effective joke, slapping your knee. All right, word with eye or empire. You could give somebody the evil eye, or you could refer to an evil empire. And then a stereotypical home for a Neanderthal could be a cave, sort of, I guess, stereotypical caveman in that sense. And if something is tightly wrapped, well, it ends with a D probably. It's encased, maybe? Could be. Suisse peak, right. Okay, so here we have Suisse written in French, I suppose, which suggests the answer will also be, so the French version of Suisse, so it will be written as a French answer, so an Alp, so one of the, in this case, I suppose, Swiss Alps, with the trailing E. All right, a ring-shaped island could be an atoll, another geographical clue, and home to the only NFL team to win a Super Bowl in its own stadium, 2021. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know this because of remembering what happened in the Super Bowl, but based on the fill, I assume it will be Tampa Bay. It was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I suppose. Must have won the Super Bowl in 2021, so congratulations to them. And an inactive computer mode, your computer could have gone to sleep. If one peeks at a classmate's paper, say, one cheats. And then, just to review, the purpose of say there means you could peek at a classmate's paper without cheating. These things aren't necessarily synonyms, but the say means, oh, this could be an example of that thing. So peeking at a classmate's paper, say, that's cheating, potentially. So that's what's going on there. It's providing for a little bit of looseness in the cluing. And what about this? Black Sea Peninsula. Oh, there we go. The Crimea, certainly an area that is newsworthy and at the moment, well, has been for several years now. It's yours for a while. A rental, something that is temporarily in your use. And then a kind of tax authorized by the 16th Amendment. Probably wouldn't have remembered off the top of my head that the 16th Amendment was the one that authorized income tax, but it's pretty clear from the crosses. And then one that rests in nests could be a hen female birds, such as a chicken, rests in nests. All right, Dostoevsky novel about a positively beautiful man with this would be The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And if you're not wearing any clothing, you are in the nude? Yes, that fits. Okay, it's probably the answer, but let's check the crosses. Organization for the Hawks and the Hornets. Are those NFL teams? I'm actually not sure. No, they're not. They're NBA teams because the orchestra tuning instrument is the oboe. The oboist will sort of tune the rest, will sound the note to which the rest of the orchestra tunes. Okay, and the common animal feature that humans lack is a tail. It's indeed a common animal feature. Yours in, well, tors or tor, I guess, depending on how close you're intending to hew to the French, would be à toi, which means, I guess, literally to you or of you. So, but that is how you would say yours in French. Bag with a strap. A satchel, sort of a shoulder bag, potentially. And to make mischief is to act up, to be a bit of a pest. Kismet could be fate, and then let's look at this answer we filled here. A bakery unit could be a loaf of bread, so a single unit, a single loaf of bread from a bakery. Ties as a score, you could even up the score, so ties would be evens up. And here we have an Airbnb alternative, so this is a type of rental from which the owner could derive income. It's a VRBO, which I think stands for Vacation Rental by Owner. So we actually have rental in the grid twice, if only in initial form in one case. If someone is impressively tough and cool, they're badass maybe? Something that probably wouldn't have been in the crossword maybe 15 years ago, but there we have it. Like a doornail, it said. Dead as a doornail. And doe. Oh, right, of course, sorry. This is another theme answer. So, a face palm. There we go. One of the internet's favorite gestures. An expression of shame or recognition of a mistake, or I guess vicarious embarrassment on someone else's behalf. Rolls up as a flag. You could furl a flag, furls, and then challenge to a duel, maybe? Let's check the crosses and see. Yes, thick Japanese noodle is udon. That is a thick Japanese noodle. And the country, oh, here we go. Well, the country that seized Crimea in 2014 is, of course, Russia. So, indeed, the newsworthiness of this answer is referenced in the puzzle. Challenge to a duel. We saw that. That looks correct. A pink drink for short could be a cosmopolitan or a Cosmo for short, a cocktail. And Madagascar's aye-ayes and sifakas. Oh, right. Lemurs, aye-ayes. I've actually, I have to admit, I've encountered the aye-aye probably more often in British cryptic crosswords than I have in any sort of, zoological context. But there we go. It's an interesting animal name. And fury is anger or ire, and then they can be slippery slopes. Slopes can be slippery metaphorically, probably just as often as in reality. Good fellas collectively. Made men, or no, mafia, right, of course. So the mafia, of course, the mob, as depicted in the Martin Scorsese film Goodfellas. And woohoo, so here's another thematic gesture. Something punch? No, that doesn't fit. What's a triumphant sort of gesture? A fist pump, I think. There we go. That looks plausible. And bygone telephone feature could be the dial of a telephone, a rotary dial, from which, of course, we get the phrase to dial a telephone, which used to come from a physical dial on the phone and obviously no longer does. Well, not commonly anyway. Othello villain is Iago. Oh, that's funny. I think Iago was in the crossword just within the last 2 days, maybe just yesterday, in fact, as being I think what was the character who's had more lines than the play's hero, I think. In any case, a drill instructor's rank often could be a sergeant in the military. A kind of sax could be an alto sax, one of the tunings of a saxophone, or one of the ranges of a saxophone, I guess. And figure drawing, tattoo, in other words, a drawing on one's figure, one's body. Straws and didgeridoos, essentially. Tubes? Maybe do I have? Oh, I do have in the nude incorrect. Oh, that's interesting. That fist pump still worked. It's not in the nude; it's in the buff, which of course is a synonym for in the nude. And straws and didgeridoos are essentially tubes. So straw obviously is a tube, and a didgeridoo is a tubular musical instrument. All right, actor Jannings, who won the first Best Actor Oscar, Emil Jannings. I think I vaguely knew that fact. I don't know that I would have, if you'd asked me out of the blue who won the first Best Actor Oscar, I may or may not have remembered, but certainly in context with the crosses, that was a little easier. A Douglas fir is a type of tree, and that'll never fly, you might say skeptically about something. And finally, you might in fact roll your eyes at it. And finally, if you're light on one's feet, you could be described as being spry. So, there we go. That was the Tuesday crossword. I think that was a nice, gentle solve indeed for Tuesday. So we did have a good, approachable early week crossword for the second day running. And let's quickly go over our theme, which was relatively simple, although did require you to at least understand what it means for a clue to be bracketed. So that is an ultimately arbitrary convention, I suppose, that does need to be understood to really get the theme. But beyond that, it was a very straightforward theme dealing with gestures. So you might wipe your brow to indicate, phew, that was close. You could slap your knee at a good joke. You could roll your eye to skeptically imply please in someone's direction. You could face palm to, indicate sort of culpability for some kind of enormous mistake. And finally, you could pump your fist to celebrate something in triumph. So there we go. That was our theme for Tuesday, March 28th. And a nice, simple puzzle surrounding those thematic answers. Hope you enjoyed it. And now, as promised, we will discuss yesterday's puzzle a bit. So let's go over that. There weren't very, unsurprisingly, because it was a simple Monday puzzle, there weren't very many comments that needed addressing, but let's go over a few. There was one that was nice that I sort of maybe unconsciously noticed, but didn't really fully perceive, and I'm glad a few people pointed it out, such as Alex Fox, who reminds me that the three bands mentioned in yesterday's puzzle were loosely an animal, a vegetable, and a mineral. So we had Counting Crows, Smashing Pumpkins, and the Rolling Stones. And of course, animal, vegetable, and mineral is one of the kind of classic distinctions in the game 20 Questions, which was what was being referenced in yesterday's theme. So that was a very nice touch that I didn't really fully cotton on to. So thank you to those who mentioned it, including Alex Fox. There was some further discussion in the comments about whether a stone is in itself a mineral and whether a pumpkin is sort of technically a vegetable, but I think we can all basically understand what's being referenced in those categories. Nix Hicks also observes this isn't about the puzzle itself, but rather the co-creator of the puzzle, Trenton Lee Stewart, who Nix Hicks says is a really great author. His Mysterious Benedict Society series features fantastically clever kids solving puzzles and mysteries. It's been made into a series on Amazon Prime as well. And I was so pleased, she says, to see his name on today's crossword. So that's really nice. I had no idea. I wasn't familiar with that author, but nice to that some people caught on to that and appreciated his past work. And finally, Mr. Andy Puppy is curious, why did I guess fess for sort of own up to something when the clue didn't have any abbreviations? I just don't understand when to do that kind of jumping. That was an interesting question. I suppose it's because I think of fess as being a word unto itself, even though it does derive from the word confess as a sort of contraction of that word. And as Brian Parenti points out, it appears that fess is in the dictionary as a standalone word, a valid, if informal, shortening of the word confess. Perhaps that's why Will Shortz felt it didn't need an abbreviation in the clue. I think that would be my answer as well. It might etymologically have its roots as a contraction of the word confess, but it has become a word in its own right. So I think, this can be a blurry line in that one, surely there's no kind of official way to sort of carbon date when words become settled into their current forms. But I think in this case, it was determined that fess is enough of a word in its own right as to not require an abbreviation. And that's all I had. That's all I had from yesterday's puzzle. So thank you to everybody who left comments as usual. And hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll be back tomorrow for the midweek, mid-difficulty Wednesday solve. Do join me for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Tuesday. Take care.